Welcome to the program. Tonight we're joined by Ralph Robinson and Angie Griffin with Goodwill Industries, here to talk about their program and services. Here's what they had to say.
I try to teach people skills of the resume writing and the interviewing, that if they get stuck and don't know how to find a job, they can figure out where they are and how to get past the sticking point where they're at. My goal every day is to make sure people know how to get a resume and know how to get an interview.
We are connected to the retail store, so the community has a vested interest by donating or purchasing. Those funds that are brought in from the retail sales, and I will tell you, 90 cents of every dollar goes to pay for our vocational services and training, pay
Excellent.
for all of those services that we offer.
My first day of class is usually a lot of information. The second day the light comes on and they really start getting it. And if you want to get a job that's going to pay your bills and be able to help you in your family, you will find a job. It just depends on how driven you are to make that happen.
Goodwill Job Connection Centers, when we return.
Funding for your career is provided by Miller Media Group. Education for life. From Florida's Space Coast, this is your career.
Welcome to Your Career. I'm Debbie Featherston, your host, and with me today are two guests from the Goodwill Job Connection Center. With me is Angie Griffin and your counterpart, Ralph Robinson. Thank you both for joining me.
Thank you for having us on the show today.
You are welcome. I am so excited to have you come and just give us an update of what's really going on, because there have been a lot of things that people have heard about Goodwill, some good, some not so good, some of it's false. And so I wanted you on the show to set the record straight so people understood what you were doing. So first of all, Goodwill is that household name. However, some people may not be as familiar with the Job Connection Center. Tell us a little bit about that.
The Job Connection Center is just that. It's connected to our retail, and people don't seem to realize that the sale of donated items, and when people donate items to Goodwill for that sale, is what actually drives our vocational services. It pays for all our employment and training.
Okay, wow, that's quite impressive. So tell me a little bit more about the services, the actual services.
Well, we currently have 6 different counties that we operate in, with 10 other additional job connection centers that are in Central Florida. So we're able to have computer classes and other classes to help people be self-sufficient.
Excellent. And so what's the real mission of the Job Connection Center? Is it to get them jobs? Is it to get them job training? Is it to boost their education?
All of the above.
Absolutely.
With the unemployment at 4.8% in Florida, the concentration has shifted more for training than the actual jobs. We are still in the business of helping people find work full-time or part-time, but we realize that people need training to move on with better paying jobs.
Excellent. Excellent. And that's really the goal. We really want to help people to better themselves, be empowered, and be self-sufficient, right?
That's the
Absolutely.
goal.
Employment is the key. And
Absolutely.
education, I'm so glad to hear that there's a greater focus on that training and education, because in my years of experience, in the over 20-some years that I've been in this field, right, of helping people find employment, right, that to me is the key differentiator. It's the education and the training.
It is.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
thank you for what you're doing, and I'm glad to hear your mission. So who's eligible for your services, and for anyone that's interested, how might they get started?
Anyone is eligible. If they're looking for work, or if you're looking to find a job that pays more money.
So you can be employed and still take advantage of your services?
Absolutely.
Yes, ma'am.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Anyone is eligible, and all our services are free. Our favorite 4-letter word, free.
Truly
we don't
free.
charge a dime for anything that we do.
Wow. So how did they get started? Somebody that's really interested, that's interested, wants to know more, or they go, wow, this is impressive. I know I need their services. Where do they go? How do they get started?
Well, a person will come in to our Job Connection Center. They'll fill out an enrollment form so we can kind of get some background information on them. And then we ask specific questions, what they're looking for, part-time, full-time. We ask them what field they're looking for, and then we try to look for positions for them is through our job board or just through the community. We work with outside agencies, other employers who are looking for people. They'll call us and say, hey, I'm looking for somebody who has this experience or that experience. And we really basically just match the employer with the potential candidate. And it's really that simple.
Oh.
We try to find out what they're looking for, what people need. We try to fill in the gaps if they need resume help or interviewing help. We also do that. We teach classes. My Job Works 101 class, as well as, like I mentioned before, GED classes, computer classes. You know, you'd be surprised how many people aren't computer literate in this day and age.
Actually, I'm not surprised. But
Right. So we don't want people to be Bill Gates. We really truly want people just to be able to navigate and be able to find what they're looking for. So back to my Job Works class, I teach resume writing and interviewing. Those skills we used to get in home ec class back in the day, and now we don't. So people who don't know how to build a basic resume that shows their skills that they have and what they bring to the table. And we try to teach that in the classes that we provide.
that's excellent. So there's truly, everybody's eligible. There's no cost to anyone. No, so it's not based on their income.
It's not
or
income driven at all.
Not
No.
income driven at all. So if they're interested, they're motivated, they can have
That's
a seat in the class.
the most important thing, just to be motivated and to be hungry.
Okay.
One of the things that we offer for people that have been out of the workforce, let's say you have a stay-at-home parent and they haven't worked for a while, so they don't have ready references. We have a temporary work program. It's called GOAL, Goodwill's Opportunities for Alternative Labor. And it is a temporary work program for 90 days, part-time
Interesting.
employment, working in our Goodwill store. And as soon as somebody completes a Job Works 101 class, they're eligible to apply for that. And it's pocket money. It's bus fare or gas in your car money so that you can come to work every day and get back in that groove of working.
Wow, that is good. And some people really need that.
Oh yeah, for
You
sure.
know, just that discipline and what's on time and how do I dress, and I mean, just get back into that groove of punctuality and so forth. So
Exactly.
excellent, and just yeah, I get you. So, you talked about the retail stores and how they were really funding the Job Connection Center. Is there any more of a connection between the two?
The vocational services drives our GED programs. It drives our programs that we have for people with disabilities. There's a program that we have for vocational services where people work through the VA and then VR, vocational rehabilitation. So there's some grant money that is involved with that, but we do help those individuals as well. English is a second other language is another ESOL classes, is something else that's being taught, our computer classes. So those funds that are brought in from the retail sales, and I will tell you, 90 cents of every dollar goes to pay for our vocational services and training, pay
Excellent.
for all of those services that we offer.
So 90% of every dollar that comes through pays for the services. Does that include staffing, administration, executive director?
Everything.
Everything.
Everything. Yep.
We're totally self-funded except for very limited grants.
So those donations really make a difference.
They're huge.
Absolutely. It's
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah. What kind of a budget do you have, or maybe probably more important than the budget, let's take a look at the economic impact that Goodwill has had.
The economic impact that we had on Central Florida was over $121 million.
Wow.
People go back in the workforce and they start giving back.
Paying their taxes,
Exactly.
buying other goods and services. So that's a
Exactly.
great way. How many people on average have you served?
We placed over 42,000 people in services and over 7,500 in jobs.
Oh, that's fantastic. That's fantastic. So really, of the 7,500, how many were involved in those programs? Do you have any sense of
All
that?
of them.
They were all involved in a program,
All of them.
and
Yes.
only some of them. Okay, so that gives us a good perspective.
42,000 were involved in some type of program, be it when they came in to look for services using our job board, getting in interview skills, getting resumes done, or actually being in a classroom setting for something.
Yeah. When you think about all the people that you've served, which 42,000, 121 million economic impact across Central Florida. Can you think of some success stories? Can you think of, people that you've touched, people that you've worked with that would help our viewers have an appreciation for the difference that you've made?
We have lots of success stories. We have individuals from all walks of life, older people that just want to get back in the workplace. They've been retired. They don't want to sit at home anymore. They want to contribute. We have people with less than perfect backgrounds that come in and find it hard to get a job. But I did bring a letter from a young lady that actually started working through the programs at Goodwill. She came in, she'd been a stay-at-home mom for 8 years, and she was taking care of her child, and she felt like she needed to be able to get a little bit of a boost to get back in that workforce. So she went through our temporary work program. And while they're in temporary work program, people can apply for any jobs anywhere. She applied for an assistant manager position within Goodwill. She got that job. But she also had a CDL, and she loves to drive a truck.
Wow.
So she became a truck driver for Goodwill, and she's been with us for quite a while now. And she wanted me to share her story on the air because she wanted to let people know that it really does work. And she is up for another promotion now. So we're very proud of her.
That's great.
Yeah, it happens all the time. Because I teach the job works classes, I don't concentrate on any one success. I try to teach people skills, the resume writing and the interviewing, that if they get stuck and don't know how to find a job, they can figure out where they are and how to get past the sticking point where they're at. And I don't necessarily count on people finding the job. My goal every day is to make sure people know how to get a resume and know how to get an interview. Because if you get interviews, you're going to eventually get a job. And that just seems to go over very well without having the pressure of finding a job. If I can just get that interview, then eventually I will get a job. And that's the goal, and it's a very good feeling when someone comes in and they're yelling, they're happy about getting an interview and not so much the job, but they understand that it's a process and they're going towards the end result, which is a job.
What component of your program really is there to support people who have launched a job search and they need that ongoing? Are they meeting on a regular basis, weekly, bi-weekly?
Well, people come in all the time at their leisure, and whatever help that they need, we're able to do that for them and provide whatever service. My class teaches exactly those kind of things. I'm stuck here. My resume is good, but am I getting interviews, and what does that mean? And all these different things that I teach. We teach money management. We teach how to figure out, what's your number. Like, when people will look for jobs, I try to explain to them, what's your number? How much money do you need to make per hour? Because if you're getting a job that's making $8 an hour and you need $10 an hour to survive, then don't waste your time trying to find those jobs. So I try to get people to be focused on their time management skills and do things they need to do to where figuring out how much money they need, figuring out what kind of job they're gonna look for. I don't want people to find 2 and 3 different jobs, part-time jobs. I want you to find one job that serves your needs and you're able to be successful and take care of daycare and take care of your family and do all those things. And most of the time, it's very small things. I teach people to tighten up the small things, to make sure they're tailoring their resume to the job description, to make sure that they're presenting themselves. I also teach dress for success when people go to interviews. Sometimes people don't know what to wear. Some people don't have clothes to wear. So part of my class, after you finish my class, you get a $20 voucher to buy work clothes, or to buy interview clothes at Goodwill. And yes, you can buy $20 worth of interview clothes.
Yes, you can.
You absolutely can. And then once you get a job, we give you a $20 voucher for work clothes. And you can buy work clothes and interview clothes, and it happens. And most of it is just the small little things, the dressing for success, to whenever you go to places to look for a job, to make sure you're dressed appropriately, because first impressions do matter.
We eliminate those barriers.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
We eliminate. We had a gentleman, last final success story I wanted to tell you about is a gentleman that was downsized from the Space Center. And he worked in counseling. And a counseling job came across my desk, and I called him. And I sent an email to the HR department. They gave him an interview, and he got the job. And he was so grateful. So we help people from all walks of life, People with postgraduate, all the way down to people with less than high school diplomas.
That's fantastic, because initially Goodwill had a reputation for working with disabled, working with people that were economically disadvantaged, you know, more challenged, right? And so it's really nice to hear that the doors are open to everyone.
They are.
You know.
The sad thing is that most people just think that we have the retail store, and they don't know that we do what we do. We do so many good things that very few people know. They just know that you can go to our retail stores, but they don't realize until they kind of get in and figure out that we offer, you know, job assistance to make people self-sufficient. And it's really the small little skills that we teach are great.
You know, having been in this business for pushing 30 years, 35 years probably, to be really honest. What I have always found to be most helpful is when there's that support group, right, where they're meeting once a week. And I think you guys had a job club or something similar to that, that you operated, and I don't know what you referred
That's
to
what
it as.
Job Works 101 is.
We
Okay,
changed the
oh,
name.
that's your Job Works
That's my
101.
Job Works,
Okay,
yeah.
so
Love
they
it.
are coming in on a scheduled basis. They are getting, you know, support and accountability, because to me that is really vital to
But
their
those skills
success.
aren't being taught anymore. How to do a resume, how to do interviewing, how to dress. Those skills aren't taught.
Right.
And
how
when
to
they-
structure your job search.
Absolutely.
You know,
Oh, yeah.
just having being organized, and how do you know, make certain that you're tracking all your contacts. Because the one thing I haven't heard, and I know you guys instruct this and coach around this, is networking.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's huge.
Well, 80% of the jobs that are found nowadays are found through networking. I teach that in my class. I also teach how to navigate a job fair. We just recently had a job fair, and the number of people I saw just kind of standing around and picking up pens and not really talking to people. So part of my class, I teach how to hit each table and how to do your elevator speech, just to kind of who you are and what you bring to the table. Those kind of skills are lacking, because and most of it is just the small little details that people just aren't doing. There are plenty of jobs out there, and it doesn't matter to us what your background is. You can find work if you're doing the small little things that do that. We have tons of success stories of people who have been incarcerated for 10, 15 years who come in, take my class, do the things that we're talking about doing, and they find work. It's very simple, and, well, not so much simple, but it is a process.
Well, I would say it's
to
simple
get,
but not hard.
Right.
But
There's a process to
simple
do it.
but not easy is
Right.
what I meant to say.
It depends on how hard you work. If you want to eat, you'll find a way to eat. If you want to do, get a job that's going to pay your bills and be able to help you in your family, you will find a job. It just depends on how driven you are to make that happen. And we see it every single day in our job, every day. It's a beautiful thing.
And when they have, team members like you have, right, available to them, that are touching their lives, that they know that they're really, you care about them, and that if you're being a little tough on them, it's because you care about them and
Exactly.
you want that you're looking out for their best interest.
I will say we have 10 job centers now. The last time I was on the show, we had 9. We have added Apopka.
Okay, good.
And there's 2 more on the horizon. One is in Eustis and one is in Deltona. Those are just coming out of the ground.
Perfect.
But we're expanding, and everyone that's hired through Goodwill, one of the things that we look for when people are hired is a heart for the mission. Our mission is building lives at work, and we want everybody treated with dignity and respect. And I can honestly say everyone that works at every one of our Job Connection Centers treats people when they come in like they are so special and they need that one-on-one.
Yeah. What really differentiates Goodwill, the Job Connection Center specifically, from all the other resources that might be available to someone?
Well, there's a lot of other resources, and we never try to differentiate ourselves between anyone else. But what I would always encourage is that you not only use us, but use the other resources as well.
In addition to.
In addition, of course.
Okay.
Because I don't really mind if you get a job through Goodwill or you get a job somewhere else, as long as you get a job. If we touched you in some kind of way to give you some resources, to give you some education that you didn't have, then that's good for us. We're happy with just that. But I always encourage people to go to different resources that are available out there.
Perfect.
To be able to get a job, because it doesn't really matter to us at Goodwill. We would prefer you to come to us, but use whatever resources that you may that are available for you.
Yeah.
One of the things that also differentiates is the fact that we are connected to the retail store. So the community has a vested interest by donating or purchasing. Goodwill now has gone green. They have sustainable programs that they're working on. We recycle everything.
Yes.
They have,
That's great.
they use solar energy for several of their stores as they're building
Wow.
them. So it saves on the electricity. Duke Power has had programs with Goodwill to help offset expenses.
Well, that's good. Nice partnership there then to help really drive your operational costs down.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, you know, when I think about Goodwill, and I think a little bit more into the future, you're growing, you now have these job connection centers, and where do they go out to a website? Can they just go goodwill.org, goodwill.com? How do they find you?
People can go to our website, which is www.goodwillcfl for Central Florida
Okay.
.org. And there is so much information on there. You mentioned something earlier about some of the rumors that are out there, and anything that you want dispelled, you can go get our annual report off of that website. You can find out about Job Connection Centers. You can find out about all of our vocational services and what's happening in the retail world.
And the distribution of your funds, because that's all part of that
Yes, that's
annual
all part of the
report.
annual
It's all in
report.
there.
The money coming in, how is it distributed, how was it
Yes.
used, even right down to probably what the CEO's salary is, I would imagine.
I think the last time I heard it was 800,000.
Yeah, that's not true. He would love that, but that's just not
That's
true.
just not true.
We also have shopgoodwill.com.
Right.
Okay.
That is a, I want to say, e-site that you can
Okay.
go to and purchase from all over the country.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, and you know, a savvy shopper, when they come into Goodwill, it's amazing if they know what they're looking for. Sometimes they can find those really treasured things. You know, you hear about, oh, somebody found a painting that was worth millions.
Oh.
I have a personal experience of a shopper that came in and she bought a pair of earrings for 99 cents, took them to the jewelry store, and they were worth over $300.
Oh my goodness.
It does happen.
Yeah, well, I shop at Goodwill for other reasons. Not looking for those treasures, but
You'd be
that's
amazed
great.
what you can
That's
find.
great. Good. So, what do you see on the horizon for Goodwill?
We're, like Angie was saying, we're building more locations. We even have little DXs now.
What's a DX?
A Donation
Donation
Express.
Express.
Oh,
Donation Express. So it's a smaller, like, if you can't get to the retail store, because most of the time, most of my friends who donate will drive around with bags of stuff in their car for weeks on end. And
Done
or
it.
they'll say, here, Ralph, and they'll give it to me, and I end up taking it to work and donating it. But what you can do is go to little small Donation Expresses. They're located all over the place.
We have 28 of them in Central Florida.
oh wow.
So you can drop off the things, they give you a receipt for your goods, and you go on about your business. So you don't have to drive
Wonderful.
to a
Yeah,
could
you
probably
don't
find a
shop
list of
there.
that on
You
your
just
website.
drive through and drop
Right.
off. Yes.
Yeah.
to drive through,
Okay.
kind of drop things off. So it makes it a lot easier for people to donate
Great.
and us give back. It's really a beautiful thing. Really
Now
is.
there's one about 10 minutes from my house, so that works real well for me.
everywhere.
So that's wonderful. I was delighted to see that that retail center opened up in the area. So that's good. So you anticipate serving more people. You know, the scope of your program. Are there any new programs that you're going to be adding, or is your goal really to just broaden the numbers, increase the numbers of people that you're
Training's
serving?
on the horizon. They're always morphing into something different.
Okay.
So right now, other than, you know, we have our ESOL and our computer classes, and then
GED classes.
GED classes,
Right.
which Brevard County
Right.
is opening up a
Okay.
GED class in our West
Good.
Melbourne location. We have just so much going on. It's incredible. I would just encourage people, keep going to that website and find out what's new and exciting with us.
GoodwillCFL.org.
Yes.
ma'am.
Okay. So, where in terms of your careers do you see your growth within Goodwill?
Drum roll.
Well, there's always room for advancement. There's so many jobs within the corporation, and they're always adding new things, and
true.
anybody's welcome to apply.
Cool, Cool. So really, there's a lot of opportunity. Then it sounds like
It is.
There's always movement and opportunity. The great thing about Goodwill that I notice is that the majority of the people that I come in contact with, that I work with, have been with the company for years and years and years. The CEO has been with the company more than, I believe, over 20 years, like 25 or something. So people stay at Goodwill. There's not a lot of there's not a lot of turnover and people leaving. So it's a beautiful thing to see that at a company where people will stay. When I first started working at Goodwill, I was very happy to see that everybody in our retail store was smiling. They're very helpful. Everybody's very nice. And it's nice to be able to go somewhere and I mean, you walk in the door there, you know, welcome to Goodwill, you know, that kind of thing. It's a really family-oriented kind of company, and it's really good.
Yeah, and I'd agree with you. My last experience at Goodwill was during the holidays. I had or actually just after the holidays, I had a granddaughter that was coming to spend a week with me and the parents. I live in South Florida.
Oh, yeah?
They had forgot to bring her winter clothes.
Oh, wow.
So guess where I went, you know, and for $27 bought her everything and more.
Yeah.
So, you know, it just, you know, there's just, and it's all, some of it looked like it was brand new and never been worn.
We have our clearance
so we had
center.
that. Yeah.
Are you familiar with the clearance center?
Tell us about the clearance center.
99 cents a pound
Oh my gosh.
for clothing. And many of the things still have tags on them.
Yeah.
What's the one thing, in closing, we've just got a couple minutes, but what's the one thing that you find most rewarding about your work?
Seeing people get jobs, seeing lives changed, seeing the quality of their life improve.
Yeah.
Ralph?
That was more than one thing. Being able to make a impact on people's lives immediately. Just the small things, just having somebody be heard. And you know, when they come in, they're frustrated. When they leave, they're encouraged and they're motivated. And that's why I come to work every day. Nothing more than that. Just seeing people just like, oh my God, I can do this. And people go, that's all I have to do? And I'm like, yeah, that's about it. They go, oh, well, I didn't know that. I'm like, well, yeah, it's okay. That's why I'm here. And you know, it just, the motivation, the drive, those kind of things when you see people, the light come on. My first day of class is usually a lot of information. The second day the light comes on and they really start getting it and seeing that what they need to do. And it's, like I said, it's very small, simple things that make the light switch go on.
Well, I tell you, thank you both for being here and the information that you've shared and for your service through Goodwill, touching lives, really makes a difference. And I know that there's been a lot of families out there that really appreciate what you do.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Well, thank you. Well, on behalf of my guest and everyone here on the set of Your Career, thank you for watching, and remember, be career happy.
More information about this program is available online at millermediagroup.org. Funding for Your Career is provided by Miller Media Group, Education for Life.